This whole thing about AI, I was talking to Cameraman Joe about Black Mirror. And then in terms of performance, as we've seen with ABBA Voyage, I think it's where we're currently going with performing arts. We wouldn't have any dancers slightly out of breath. Soon audiences would be AI. I think physical theatre is...
It's not like anything else out there that I've ever seen.
It's not based off ability, who's the best. It's based off who they think. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Movement Theories. I'm very glad we've got this far, and I'm very glad for all of you who tune in and listen. Today we're talking about Frantic Assembly, physical theatre, stunt casting, shows that are currently on West End, and one other thing. You're asking me some questions.
Yeah, we're going to do who's most likely to.
Who's most likely to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, and I'm very excited to get started.
So this week in theatre, we have had new MYMT directors, artistic directors appointed, which is very exciting.
Who are they?
There's Alex Summerhughes and Chris Cumming, who are the new co-artistic directors.
Yes. And so Jeremy Walker has just stepped down as artistic director of the National Youth Music Theatre Company.
Yes, sorry, I should have clarified. Yes.
Chris Cumming is an amazing choreographer and director. He choreographed the first year of NYMT in concert, in which I managed to squeeze a place in, bearing in mind I had limited experience, and so that was such a great learning opportunity.
It was
for
amazing
me.
to watch.
And everyone kind of just taught me on the go, because they'd be saying show references and I just didn't know them. It was only a few months before I got Hamilton and Phantom of the Opera mixed up.
Yeah,
please don't hate me.
That was big
for that. But I've learnt now.
Yes.
So yeah, they're amazing.
So they've also appointed an 11-strong artistic advisory group.
Wow.
So it's generally compiled of different actors, which include Michael Gibson, Amira Okorori, Akuza Boki. I've written that really badly. I'm really sorry. And Kate Gollage. My handwriting is atrocious. I apologise. And then the CEO, Adrian Pecker, described it as a bold statement of intent.
Yeah. Back to your handwriting quickly. You know it's bad if you can't read it yourself.
I know, that is bad.
That is.
But you've
hit rock bottom there.
Yeah. Yours is just as bad. I can't read yours.
Read this.
Yeah, fair enough.
No
I
hate.
can't read yours.
No hate.
But they've kind of said that they want it to enrich future work through a vibrant range of creative perspectives. So they've invited a real range of different actors and actresses and creatives to try and, broaden their sphere.
I'm very excited to see where the National Youth Music Theatre goes.
Yeah, definitely.
This will probably be my second year, first proper year with them. Probably my last. I don't know if I'd be doing it again in uni. And I've been really lucky. And I think that's a big thing about the industry. It's all on luck. And I can tell you so strongly, it's like 90% luck in me doing both of them. Because it just happened that the shows they picked that year, one of them was suited for me. So last year was like a mashup, and so I can learn from that. This year is physical theatre. It's by one of the helpers or someone who teaches practitioners in Frantic Assembly, which is what we're discussing today. And so I've been really lucky because it's not a traditional musical, the stuff I'm doing. NYMT is a very prestigious, very difficult company to be part of, and I feel like I get a mad imposter syndrome, but I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yes.
It'd be cool to see them do more shows like BYMT.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But yeah, they're an amazing
But speaking of which, if you're about in Leicester in August, you should get some tickets to go and see.
Yeah. Second
Armchair.
week of August.
I'll be there.
Boy Who Sailed the Ocean in an Armchair. And it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Very, very excited.
Going to be sick.
Yeah.
What else is on theatre? Anything else?
So this week, Wicked have also had to pause filming due to the actors' strike.
Yeah.
So it began on the 14th of July, 2023, and the actors are lobbying for better streaming residuals and protection with the ongoing threat of AI. which we talked about earlier, didn't we, off camera?
Yes. Well, I think we can touch on to that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because we've got a lot of time. Do you think it's appropriate now, or do you want to finish or?
No, we can
theatre?
talk about it now. That's fine.
So, this whole thing about AI, and I was talking to Cameraman Joe.
Big up.
Behind the camera. About Black Mirror.
Yes,
and
the
now
Netflix series.
Netflix series. And so Black Mirror, obviously, Netflix series, is episodic structure. So, but of course it's episodic. How do I describe this? Anthology. Every episode is different.
We know lots about anthologies.
You don't need to watch it in a structure. In like dance, we call things episodic if they're like they're not like.
And theatre, it's still in theatre, just not less in TV shows.
Anyway, you can watch it whatever order you like. And so the episode I watched was called Joan is Awful. And it was basically they'd found this ordinary Joan and using data from that she'd signed off, that probably all of us have signed off when using Google, and using her phone and laptops and any cameras or whatever around that they've just got permission to use because we just go, oh, cookies, sure. Oh, consent form, sure. They basically had used what they've heard and seen and used AI to just create her and her life and do a replica of her life and then put it on a Netflix show. And so she gets home and is watching it with her partner, and her partner sees her with another man, and her partner sees her being horrible at work, and her partner sees all of like the really negative sides of things.
Well, but another thing with that episode was that it used the faces of celebrities like Selma Hayek.
Yes.
Because they had just signed away their likeness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is obviously scarily similar to what's going on right now with the actors' strikes.
And so, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear anything more about it, skip 10 seconds. There's a moment to get Salma Hayek's attention where this ordinary Joan, because Salma Hayek is playing her, basically. This ordinary Joan eats loads of burgers, has some like digestion stuff, goes into a church during a wedding and just poos all over the floor. But then because of the way the show works is this AI just automatically generates this, and 5 hours later it's played all over the internet as Salma Hayek. And so now Salma Hayek's image is just ruined, and she doesn't even know much about the show. It's just that she's been created by AI and it's just put on like she just signed a form, gets the money. Whoa. And so all over Netflix, and everyone's watching it, is just Salma Hayek pooing in a church everywhere, really graphic. And so then Salma Hayek and this girl kind of team up, and then it turns out, and this is crazy, some more spoiler alerts, that this girl that we're watching isn't even the original Joan. We're watching another AI. We're watching like Platform 2, and then they're watching Platform 3. And so this girl is actually played by another celebrity that we're watching the whole time, and I hadn't actually realised. And then the original real world, after they break this quantum machine, is the real Joan, who is being played by this celebrity that we're watching the entire way through the episode. And so once it's destroyed, we go back to the real world, which we only see at the end, and we see this brand new actor playing who looks just like a normal person, isn't glammed up in celebrity makeup, and yeah, it's really interesting as a concept.
Obviously, the reason why that's so scary now is because of what was said in the debates over can't speak. The actors' strike.
The actors' strike, yes.
Extras selling away their likeness to the studios.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one. So if you couldn't hear that, I don't know how well, but extras selling away their likeness, which means they just scan an AI copy, which means as an extra, if that's kind of what you do to get a lot of your money, you just go into the studio once, and now they just create you digitally, and
that's
no more
why
work.
they want more streaming like residuals, because when you do an advertisement, they have to pay every time they use your face, whereas on streaming platforms, people can watch it over and over and over, and they only get the money they make on the
I think, wouldn't it? Well, I see what you think, Joe, but would you not think it gets to the point where they don't even need to use extras? They just create
that's
digitally
what
IA.
they do, so they don't have to
pay anyone. Because it's all about getting more money, and if you don't need to pay people for things, then people just won't.
But we went to Comic-Con a few years ago, didn't we? And we spoke to an actor who was an extra in
a bunch of things, Marvel and stuff.
Marvel and Fantastic Beasts series and stuff. And being an extra was how he'd made his living. Like
Yes.
he'd come and he did kind of cameo stuff. Like he was recognisable in like little
Yeah, no,
roles.
you could see, like, I recognised his face. Didn't know who he was at all, but he had
Yeah.
a recognisable face.
And so he'd
Sure.
made his like living off of extra work. So that's really scary that there are probably, you know, hundreds, thousands of people that do that.
Yeah.
And that's taking away so many jobs.
And also, big thing is opportunities.
Mm.
I'll see what you have to say first, and then I'll get back onto this.
Well, what I was going to say was just obviously if you sell, if what they're proposing is you sell your likeness to a studio, then not only does it mean you never get to work for that studio again because they now own your likeness and can just use you anywhere. It also means that you can't work for any other studio that doesn't own your likeness because it's already
Yeah,
owned by another
it's all your work.
It's just so scary
Gone.
because that's your face.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
on a lower level to like making a living from it, as a young person, I have contacts and friends my age who just for experiences and opportunities will dip into extra work. A podcast I used to do, one of the hosts had done that. A boy who I stay with occasionally in London, whenever I need accommodation, went to Greece to film a party scene on a boat or something in Greece, and he was an extra in this. Got flown out, got given like £500. Everything was covered. He was there for like a long weekend, and it was just a great opportunity for him to network and meet new people. And like he's not making a living from that, but he's doing it as this great opportunity through extra platforms. And we're not going to see opportunities like that given to young people because they won't need to. Like you're not going to pay a kid £500 and a bunch of like travel costs and stuff if you could just use AI.
Yeah, it's really scary. And that's a lot of the way that people get their foot into the industry is by doing extra work. And that's how you meet directors and runners and, you know, people learn faces and names, don't they? So,
I think that's what I mean by opportunities. We're just going to miss out on them.
But the Wicked film was actually only 10 days away from finishing filming. And so it was Stephen Schwartz, who wrote Wicked, like the music, like incredible, actually was a bit like, it is a bit annoying because they were only 10 days away from finishing
close.
filming. But he was like completely stand with them. And the John Chu, who's the director of the Wicked films, has put out a tweet to say that he stands, you know, with the actors as well, because I guess they've all come from that place, like they've all been there, and a lot of the kind of really famous people like Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, who are all very well established actors, have all again put out their support with the actors' strikes because obviously they're gonna, you know, benefit more from being in the Wicked film and probably get paid ridiculous amounts of money, but in comparison, especially to their counterparts who might not be quite as
because like Ariana Grande is the whole like rich get richer, as she'll just get more money, do the same amount of work, but it's because of her name and her face, which makes sense. Like she's built this brand and this reputation, and people will watch it more because she's in there, so they're gonna make more money because of it. And
I'm
so
really excited to see her in that because people are very like controversial because she's a pop star, but actually she trained on Broadway. She was in 13 the musical when she was a teenager and is like classically trained as a musical theatre performer, so it's really exciting I think to see her.
I mean, she is a controversial person in different ways, in terms of how like being a celebrity has changed her in her look. There's a lot around the whole excessive use of tanning. We don't need to get into that, but she is a controversial person, so I can see why people would go into it with hate. And if we've seen anything from people like James Corden, celebrities being in musicals doesn't always.
But she is like, this is what we were talking about a few weeks ago, of the fact like people replacing, and then we'll go into it a bit with stunt casting. Yeah. Whereas I think in a sense you might consider it stunt casting, but also she is like a trained musical theatre performer, which is
like Carrie
nice.
Fletcher.
Well, yeah. And Cynthia Erivo is known for her incredible work on Broadway. She was in The Colour Purple, which we've seen. We didn't see her in it, but we saw that musical. And it's really exciting to see her in this. And then obviously Jonathan Bailey, who is most well known for being in Bridgerton, I'd argue, but he's done stuff on the West End. He was in the last 5 years, like he's done some really, really awesome stuff.
Well, I'm just doubting myself quickly here. So with Carrie Fletcher, she's trained, but not like drama school.
She didn't go to drama school, but she is trained. She did
beforehand.
She went to Sylvia Young, I believe, and did. Her like West End debut. She was Little Eponine in Les Mis, and then
Crazy.
she was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as a kid too. So
Crazy.
and Mary Poppins, I think, but I could be
So
wrong.
but she doesn't have. Does Ariana Grande have like the equivalent of drama school uni training?
I don't know,
Okay,
but
yeah. But Carrie Hope gets used for
yeah.
her name and her face and her talent.
yes,
It'll be interesting to see how Ariana Grande
yeah.
fares in Wicked. Is she playing evil?
No. Cynthia Erivo is Elphaba, the green
Okay,
one,
Yeah.
and then Ariana Grande is Glinda, the good
Oh,
one.
okay. Well, it's only because Ariana Grande, sorry, can't say the name, is just used to being in a different colour, I guess you could say.
Oh, Josh.
Wow.
Is that too much?
You're gonna need to cut that out.
Oh, maybe, but that was funny. I wasn't able to say that.
Ariana Grande she's had a lot of connection with Wicked. Actually, so has Cynthia Erivo, but ironically, they played the other parts, and so Wicked had a concert to celebrate its anniversary on Broadway. I think that was the reason. And Ariana Grande sang "The Wizard and I," which is Elphaba's song, like big song, and Cynthia Erivo, I think, sang "Popular." She sang something that Glinda sings,
Nice.
which was really cool. But yeah, and
Let's
then
move on.
I have one more.
Yeah.
One more news for this week is that Next to Normal is making its UK premiere after its very successful Broadway run. So it was on Broadway a few years ago and was super, super successful. And then they've brought it over here. So they're currently in rehearsals. And it's starring Cassie Levy, Jamie Parker, Trevor Dion Nicholas, Eleanor Worthington. This is so
Your
bad.
writing.
This is atrocious. Jack Orterio and Jack Wolf at the Domhnall Warehouse.
I'd really like... Oh, Donamar, I recognise.
Yeah.
Theatre, yeah. I'd really like to watch these shows we talk about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them I don't actually know much about as a newbie. I'm still calling myself a newbie.
I've not seen Next to Normal, but I've just had some of the music from
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. I'd like to talk about Frantic Assembly now.
Of course.
I am very passionate about the work that Frantic Assembly do.
Yes.
I think they are an incredible company. They're just cool. We study them in our drama GCSE and BTEC that we did after GCSE. And so we know quite a lot.
Yes.
However, whether we're going to remember all of that
Yeah, it's like a
is a
challenge.
slightly different story.
It's like Yasmin Vardaman.
I've got down some basic notes that I need to cover. And yes, there's also going to be a poll in our YouTube community tab. So go give it an answer.
Yes,
I'd like to see
please.
what you think. So let's start with a bit of their ethos.
Yes.
Okay. Collaboration. I love companies that focus on collaboration.
Definitely.
I think it's super important. I think it's where we're currently going with performing arts. You're just going to have to collaborate with people.
Yeah.
That's a good thing as well. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, my uni where I'm going to Central is like when we went to the open day, isn't it? Like it was all so collaborative. All the courses work with each
Yeah.
other. The props
really
people do the
interesting.
and the costumes do the
Yeah.
for the shows. And
Like your university
I'm really
is just
excited.
a theatre.
yeah,
Like it just works as a running
I
theatre.
can't wait.
Every
Very excited.
department is there that you need to
If I get in.
run a theatre. You're getting the grades. I don't know what I'm talking about. She needs more confidence. Talking about the ethos again, empowerment,
Yes.
which is good. You need to
Yes.
empower
Yes.
people to work, no matter of background, gender,
Yeah.
and a desire to improve.
Yes.
Yeah, I think these are really, really, really good
It's
things.
a strong ethos.
Yeah, a very strong ethos. And so let's talk about what we know.
Oh gosh, here we go.
See what we can remember.
Okay.
The frantic style.
Yes.
It's physical theatre, and I think physical theatre is the best. I think it's revolutionising education,
Yeah.
acting, just moving, even just dance. It's changing
Changing the game.
the game. Frantic Assembly, like I said about NYMT, I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting and changes the way that you see a lot of quite traditional performances, and it's not like anything else out there that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think we went to watch Othello, which obviously is a Shakespearean play, and
It was in
can
modern
be done
times.
very traditionally, but Frantic put a modern spin on it, and there was all this movement, and
Yeah.
it really, I think, enhanced the performance a lot.
Yeah, no, it was really, really cool. Really good. They're currently doing Metamorphosis, which uses AI,
Which is very cool.
which we
Very
were
cool.
talking a little bit about earlier.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, but scary in a sense. Is where
Definitely,
I think in terms of where AI is going. Because, I mean, everyone is worried about their jobs. I think rightly so, because when you think about it, like, you could set up two chat GPTs alongside an AI video thing to just make podcasts like this.
Yeah, you don't need us.
Which will probably be 10 times more interesting and scripted and researched and charismatic, because they'll just be able to do it all.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't need Joe Rogan. Just have an AI version. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's sad
yeah.
and scary. I like humans. I don't want
I like
any more
humans as well.
robots.
Yeah, I know.
Most
I
of
mean,
the time.
I think in education you kind of need some of that sympathy. But at the same time, would AI just do a better job? Would they just never make the little mistakes that teachers make every now and then? Would they just be perfect because of how it is? Would they kind of get it
This feels
down
like
to
an
a T?
existential spiral.
I know. And then in terms of performance, as we've seen with ABBA Voyage,
Yeah.
you know,
It's very true.
you would have the dancing, the singing and acting perfect. You wouldn't have any dancers slightly out of breath. You wouldn't have any dancers who are sick one day.
You wouldn't need covers or swings.
You wouldn't need covers, swing. You wouldn't need any of this.
Yeah.
It would just all be done. And people loved ABBA Voyage. Like, it went
They
down
did.
a hit.
It's very successful. But then,
Yeah.
you know, it could apply to all of it. The
Mhm.
lighting design, the costume
And-
design.
And what happens if
you know.
the artificial intelligence that are taking the jobs then starts being the ones that pay to go to these performances? Soon audiences
Stop.
would be AI. I mean, soon we'll have like whole cities that are just AI cities of all the people, of all the AI that have all these jobs and that are earning money from this. Like, they'll have their own AI that have their bank accounts. They'll pay to go watch performances of other AI. I mean,
We're entering cyber.
it's crazy. This is like could be 10 years away.
We just tried to talk about Frantic Assembly.
Sorry, yeah, Frantic Assembly, who are doing a show about AI
Yes.
metamorphoses, which is very cool. So for Frantic Style, yes, physical theatre. They love moving and working together. Lots of contact work. It's very experimental in
Yeah.
different ways. So the shows they've done and the people they've worked with, which will link into one of their ethos of collaboration. I have a bit of a list here. So things that people they've commissioned with in different ways, whether this is directors, choreographers, writers, whatever. So in 2020, they collaborated with Sally Abbott on I Think We Are Alone. In 2018, Anna Jordan on The Unreturning. Now, some of these we're going to recognise, okay? So Simon Stevens, they collaborated with on Curious Incident. You know? Curious
Yes,
Incident,
I
you know,
do.
Talking of Nighttime. So
I'd
that's
l- I-
2012, they did that first.
I'd love to see that.
Then, same person, Fatherland, 2017 and 18, and then back to Curious Incident of the Dog in Nighttime, 2018, 2019. I think I'm saying Curious Incident of the Dog in...
Yeah, you need
The
to
Nighttime.
enunciate.
Yes. The
And
reason I
slow down.
wasn't... The reason I wasn't was because I was nervous I was going to get it wrong. So like,
Curious
Curious
Incident
Incident of the Dog in
Of
Nighttime.
the dog in the nighttime. Yes.
Andrew Bovell. Do you remember... Do you two remember Andrew Bovell?
He did Things I Know to Be True.
And what year was that in? 2016, 2017.
Oh, I was going
I
to
was gonna say that.
cut us off. Cut us off. Cut us off. That's-
Theatre question I can answer.
Yeah. Mark Ravenhill. Do you recognise the name? It doesn't
Love
matter if you
Song?
don't or not. No, that's next. Pool, no water, in
Oh,
brackets.
very good. Very good.
2006. Abby Morgan, you just said.
Love Song.
Love Song.
Yeah.
2011. And Tiny Dynamite in 2001. 2003. Wow, I wasn't born.
No, we weren't. Not to scare any of our, like, you know, I don't want to say slightly older because that also sounds
2004.
rude.
2005.
I know. And we're both 18. Not to scare anyone.
Yeah, that's...
But then our younger viewers will probably be like, that's so old.
Yeah, I know. Bryony...
Bryony.
No.
No?
Bryony. You're going to laugh at me. I can't read the writing of my surname.
I think I read them earlier.
Bryony Lavery. Bryony Lavery. That's an Lavery. Stockholm 2007. Beautiful Burnout 2010. And The Believers 2014.
Very nice.
So lots of collaborations, lots of shows. Ones we recognise, things I know to be true. Love Song, Curious Incident. Fatherland a little bit. Like I
Wait.
feel like we looked at it in a PowerPoint.
You've done some work in Things That Know to Be True, haven't you? You did a monologue from that one.
Yes, I did Mark's... and my uni auditions.
Yeah, uni.
Well, drama school auditions.
Yes, yes.
Well, I did Mark's monologue. How did it go? And then let me think.
I'm trying to think because you did it for me so many times.
Yeah. I generally can't remember. That's really bad. Yes. So
Something about being held in your father's arms. I can remember that.
yeah, it was a very powerful monologue,
It was,
and
it
I've
was
talked to
beautiful.
some friends who had more understanding of it than I did in terms of the topics, and I feel like I managed to put together something that worked well.
Yeah.
So those are people they've collaborated with.
Mm.
So Ignition,
Oh, are we gonna
Digital Theatre Plus, and Frantic Studios, which is new. Do you know Frantic Studios, Joe?
I haven't heard about this.
It's a new teaching resource. Basically replaces Digital Theatre Plus in a sense. So instead of like their work being on there and then Digital Theatre Plus get the money, it's just you pay Frantic directly to access to Frantic Studios. Like Slide Plus.
Was Digital Theatre Plus the thing we watched all the performances on?
Yes,
we
so
had
our
access to
school paid for a yearly subscription for logins for all the students.
Thank
But
you very
basically,
much.
instead of us at school paying Digital Theatre Plus, we're paying now Frantic Studios, and their work will be directly on there. But if we talk
Let's talk
about which one actually you choose,
Ignition. I wanna
Ignition.
talk about
We're big
Ignition.
big fans of Ignition. So
Yes.
some context here.
Why it's relevant to us, or
Why it's
just in
relevant to
general?
us? Context why it's relevant to us.
Okay,
We took part in their tasters and trials.
we did last
And so
year, in
we're-
2022.
Yes, yeah. And so we're kind of used to that way of the way they work,
It was-
which was also taught to us
It
in
was an
school.
amazing experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had a great day. We went up to Plymouth or down to Plymouth,
Down to Plymouth.
and their
First time
auditions.
me driving, big journey on my own.
It was very exciting. And then we arrived and we got to do our audition at the Theatre Royal Plymouth, which was incredible. Like that's such a cool
Because we
thing to
watched
get
The
to
Colour
do.
Purple on that stage.
that
A
afternoon.
lovely stage, yes.
Yeah, so we did our
combined-
Frantic audition in the morning, and then to calm our nerves, reward ourselves, we went to watch The Colour Purple in the afternoon,
which
which
was very
was
nice.
incredible.
Yeah.
Shed
We
a
didn't
tear.
get a place, just
We
as like a disclaimer.
No,
But
But-
I don't
but-
mind.
there are 2023 auditions that we would really like to go to because
Yes.
Ignition. Ignition
I was
going
going
to
find those to say.
because Ignition is wonderful because you don't have to pay for it. It's all paid for, which a lot of these like big kind of theatre company type things you have to pay a lot of money for.
A lot of money.
Whereas
yeah.
Frantic has a lot of funding from Arts Council and its
Different
own money.
places,
So,
yeah. They
yeah.
work with all of their audition venues, I think, are Frantic Assembly partners.
Yeah.
Like they work kind of together. Oh, briefly, I'm going to link in the description all of the shows that were worked that I mentioned that they'd kind of commissioned with people, so
Yeah.
you can have a look through
why
if
don't
you're
you-
interested.
we'll put the audition dates link
and
or
we'll
something.
also do that, yeah.
That would be a good idea.
Because it'd be nice for more people to get
Yes.
free workshops.
And then we get to meet some people if we don't already know them.
Yes, no, that's
If
true.
there's anyone watching that we don't,
That's true.
that we don't know.
Just if there's anyone watching.
Very valid point. Very valid point.
But no, Ignition is really good. So it's a youth program for young people.
Yes, it was from.
Ages wise,
isn't it-
20
what's-
something.
I was going to say
Early
16
20s.
to
Early
23 or something.
Yeah. And it's a week in October, and you create some work, you perform it in one of their
Yeah.
studios in London. Collaborative, you meet indie professionals. They keep in contact with you through a program called Reignite. And so lots of people, like a friend I've made called Felipe Pacheco, he came up in terms of the profession through Frantic Ignition.
Yeah. And now he works for them.
And so now he
tours
works with them. He's toured in Othello.
Yeah.
He's doing Henry V
He's
School
going to
Tour.
do the Metamorphosis one as well.
Is he?
Pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realise that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry.
I haven't
if
been
you- if you're
stalking the
not,
Instagram as much as
but
Kaitlin has.
I'm pretty sure that he's in that as well.
Wow. That's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
We love Felipe.
He's really cool.
We
So
do.
he came up through Off the Ground Theatre in Liverpool. So his first professional work, my uncle directed. And so that's kind of how his like professional debut, I guess you could get. And from there, he's gone on to do loads of things. So the reason I know him was through doing a podcast for a BTEC drama assignment. And I asked my uncle, can you just give me the name of a professional? He did that. I got in touch. He was like, yeah, sure. Recorded a podcast, met up in person.
We did. We had,
Had
sushi,
sushi.
with him.
Yeah. And yeah, really nice guy all round.
Yeah.
And
Big
big fan.
fan.
Big fan. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah.
And I'm
Keep
very
an eye,
excited.
keep an eye.
I'm very
He's been
excited
doing
to
work
join the industry and to
on
work with him.
Hall's the musical in London, hasn't he? He's been doing, I think it was movement, some kind of movement direction.
Yes, he helped out with movement.
Yeah,
direction
which
and
is
choreography and
so
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Really cool. Because we talked about Halls on the podcast, and
And
then we found
saw,
out.
Well, you saw the post.
Yes, which is awesome. But yeah, Ignition used to be just a male program to kind of get more boys into movement and drama, and then
But now it's all inclusive.
last year or the year before, either 2021 or 2022, was the first year that it was all gender inclusive.
Yes.
And so they don't have like one for boys and one for girls and whatever, because
Yeah.
you know they were very passionate about kind of
Yes.
everyone being invited, like no matter how you identified. Like it was really very progressive, and they did 2 instead of just running one, they ran 2, so a few more people had a bit more opportunity. But it was a really amazing audition process, because they were so. It didn't feel like you were in an audition necessarily. You kind of
It was like a
lots of
workshop.
workshops,
It was just a
games.
workshop,
Like
yeah.
it was really chill, really really nice.
Yeah, really good. Although the scary thing was they only took 2 people from each area. So
Yeah.
they had a bunch of different audition dates in Plymouth, but they only took 2 people from those, which was like, oh, wow. So we had one lad from our group and someone else from one of the other groups.
Yeah, it was
were
crazy. And so
taken.
we were like, the likelihood of us both getting in, you know,
Yeah.
was
But to
fairly
be
slim.
completely honest, which is why I say everyone should apply for this, it's not based off ability, who's the best. It's based off who they think will benefit the most, improve the most from working with them, who will...
So it's potential.
Yeah, who has the most potential to do it. I think you'll have the least potential, or the least chance of getting in if you
We're perfect.
were perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not saying that like we were perfect for not getting in, because like
No, God. No, I don't wanna
2
make it sound
people
like
out
that.
of like 100 or whatever
I was definitely not
didn't get
perfect.
in.
I
And so
think
it's
I
not
tripped-
saying that those 98 people were.
I tripped over.
And I accidentally flirted with one of the guys.
That was...
It was an accident. I don't know how.
He was just
That-
beautiful like the sun.
Thanks. It just happened.
It was.
It just happened. Okay, Digital Theatre Plus is what we use to
Yes.
to study Frantic Assembly and their work. Very useful. But now they've gone on to Frantic Assembly Studio, which is their new thing. And it's basically like I was saying. It's a online subscription platform designed to support teachers and students in the study of contemporary theatre making from GCSE upwards, and obviously in particular the Frantic method. Now they have their own method, and what I'd really like is to get Felipe on this new official podcast and have him talk more about the Frantic method, because he knows about it much more than we do. We've just done some workshops. It would be very cool. And maybe even the man himself, Stephen Graham.
Scott Graham.
Scott. I called him Stephen.
Did you get it wrong?
Stephen Graham was the guy from This Is England, Josh.
Scott Graham.
Hold
Joshua.
on. Let's just
He is also very
let's just do like a cut here.
Stephen,
Oh man.
Stephen Graham is like the least
Scott Graham,
musical theatre actor
MBE.
you could imagine.
Rough. Rough.
Unbelievable.
I really want to restart that. That's so
I
bad.
want you to keep it. I can just
No,
I love Stephen Graham.
I'll keep it in. Sorry, Scott Graham, who graduated from the University of Swansea with English, created the company
Very
with
good.
Stephen Hoggett and
The lady.
the lady who's no longer involved, which is why I don't remember her name. Steve Hoggett.
I think it was
Steve Hoggett.
Rachel, but
Steve
I
Hoggett?
could be wrong. It is Steve Hoggett.
Yeah.
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 But the very interesting, the choreographer on my NYT show this year was there when they started the company. And the very first show they approached him, he was doing stuff in ballet with ballet boys or something like that. And they approached him saying, "Can you come and create movement and choreograph on our first on show?" So one of these shows, he's been there for like 10 rotations of the main character. So he knows a lot, and now he's doing work with NYMT, and it's very exciting. Yeah, he's a very cool guy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think he's also a Steve Kirkham.
Everyone's just called Steve, aren't they?
He might not be called Steve Kirk. But yes, great choreographer, big fan. Maybe get him on the podcast.
Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's more about Frantic.
Yeah.
I don't have anything now written down, but
Oh,
I
we're
just want to
just gonna-
talk about it. Yeah. So when we were doing our workshops that our teachers kind of brought to us, there was a lot about working together as a class in a physical way. We don't really touch on it much outside of the Frantic space in terms of like the movement, the collaboration, the contact work, but we'd create or play around using our bodies to create different ideas. It could literally be like riding a bike, like how does that look? But we used to do this thing called the jetpack, where they'll be like lifting up from
Yeah.
either side of the arms, and you kind of like fly them like this. One we've never properly tried is the parallel walking, which is where you holding someone up against the wall. We never had a wall that we could do this on, and they're just walking parallel to the floor like that, which I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
And as I'm a gymnast, our next podcast is going to be about acrobatics, gymnastics. Does it help you as a dancer? And I must say that this was so exciting for me because I've never had the opportunity to do anything like this before, and so I was loving it.
Yeah, it was an amazing.
So much
workshop we
fun.
got to do.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was really, really cool.
And a lot of their works were really amazing. Like we wrote about things that need to be true for our BTEC, and it was so easy to write about because there was just so much to talk about. All the characters
really
and their
detailed
arcs and the physical movement. The BTEC, they kind of surprise you with what element of the play they're going to ask you about, and so you get maybe like 8 options that you can go away and revise, and then on the day you answer one.
Vicky Middleton, was that the?
Oh, I think you're right, but I also could be wrong, but I feel like that sounds right. I said Rachel, that's so wrong, but that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Could be wrong though. We'll put it.
Well,
somewhere.
no, we won't. I don't know.
There we go. I'm not making Josh do any more.
No, you'll see if you go and look at obviously the shows
Just
that we've
Google
talked
it,
about.
and please don't send us any hate. But it was. I've lost my.
I'm really
train of thought
sorry
now.
because it popped into my head and I thought I have to
That's
say
okay.
this.
What was I talking about?
But you know what I'm like.
Ignition.
Hmm.
No, I wasn't. I was talking about things that need to be true.
Yes, and how it was so easy to write
It was
about.
very easy to write about because
and how
there's
you enjoyed it so
lots
much.
of character arcs, lots of physical theatre, and the.
Joe disagrees.
Joe's disagreeing with me.
I
But-
thought the
You're gonna
other
give it a little
one-
tighten.
Oh, these.
I thought the other one, the one with the two, with the husband. and
Love
wife,
Love song.
Love song.
I-
That one.
I didn't write about that
Well,
one.
I think
Oh,
visually
yeah, I did actually.
both were incredible and both had moments that stood out. Love song, the bits where they would fall into the bed
Yeah.
as like
and then
a
come out as their
trapdoor.
younger one
And would was awesome.
Yeah.
However, things I know to be true, the way they used lighting design to like make it look like someone was floating or like black out the bottom of like
their feet and
the
things.
feet or like no, just the feet, like a whole body
Yeah,
worth
yeah.
of people as just a black space and just like lighting. Yeah. It
Yeah,
it
it
makes you
was-
think of how effective it could be using sound and lighting.
And they handle
the
all
most
these
effectively.
topics so beautifully.
Yes.
And
Yes, because Love Song was Things I Know to Be True was one of the many topics was about being transgender. However, Love Song was about kind of age
Yeah.
and life, death.
Yeah, they handle
family.
they just are very good at taking stories and bringing in beautiful kind of meanings or topics that might be difficult to discuss, but they seem to handle it in a very like effortless way, which I really like.
Yeah.
I really enjoy theatre that's got a bit of a political spin to it, or not necessarily political, but social themes through it, which is always very interesting.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that's
Frantic-
something AI can replicate.
No. And I think
hope.
Frantic are really good at the way they manage these very specific topics. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Yes.
Yes.
Did you want to ask some questions?
We're going to play a game.
Yeah, I think we play a game.
We're going to play a game. Okay, I've had a thing. I think what we should do, I don't know what will work best, is whether this is me and that's you, and we're going to play who's most likely to, and you pick up one if you think
Okay.
who we think it is.
Our audio listeners right now.
Oh, true.
So
Well, we'll
confused.
say, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll not just... Or do
So
you
if we think
do
it's
you
us,
wanna-
we place it onto the map. That's us.
And then I'll take the other one. But then if we both agree, we're both going to grab for the same one, so it's fine.
Hold on. So they're
Because
off.
I feel like you can't see that
That's
on
true.
camera.
They're off. So if I think it's me,
Yeah,
I'm going to put it on mine.
yeah.
For the audio listeners, say what they are.
So
Oh,
they,
yes,
very
sorry.
good point.
Very good
They are my Lego Grogu and Lego Mandalorian.
Josh's 18th birthday present from me.
That was amazing.
I'm just going to get a little zoom in on these.
Well, of course.
Little Grogu and a Mandalorian.
Yeah. I think,
Look
Joe,
at me
you
go.
could keep a tight cut close zoom. Well, not too tight. Maybe like a box like this for the whole thing. So they just don't need to see
You
us.
don't need to see our faces.
But they can just see who we choose.
Well, I feel like we're going to end up telling a few stories too.
I think some stories will come from this.
Oh, nice little close-up.
Cute. Okay,
Yeah.
ready?
Like, you said you want...
Yeah, come out slightly so you can see more of the
And then
space here.
So
if-
you just want it to be focused.
Just so that you can see us moving them around.
Just see the edges of the tables and like...
That's cool.
Oh, that's loads. Yeah, it's tons.
And
tons.
if we tell a story, you can come out and we'll talk about
Okay,
it.
what's the first question?
Okay. Who is most likely to forget a line and improv their way out of it?
But I feel like both. I feel like every
Well,
musical
we can
theatre would.
agree. We can agree. I'm not saying
No,
you
I'm
wouldn't.
I'm thinking now because I feel like if I forget a line, would I freak? I mean, the thing is, I'm very much an ensemble person.
Yeah.
I'm not like big roles, so I've never really had many lines to forget.
I've definitely, done some dodgy improvs out of it, but I'll give myself some credit. I've done some pretty good ones.
I want to give that to you because I think you do a much better job. I'd try, but I don't think it will work very well.
I appreciate
Do you guys
that.
have any funny improv-related stories?
I do. I was in a pantomime once, and the person I was playing Cinderella. I hope he doesn't mind me telling the story, but the person playing Buttons, the kind of jester type character, forgot all his lines. I'll give him some credit. Forgot quite a few of his lines. On
Give him
opening
some
night.
credit. Just most of them, not all of them.
And it was very funny, the audience laughed. And at the end, we had this scene where he was confessing his love to me. And he was like, Cinderella, I can never seem to find the words. This is not me forgetting a line. This is me just dobbing him. He went, I can never seem to find the words. And I just went, no, you really can't. And I got a good laugh. And I'm not very witty generally, but I was really
No,
proud
it's
of that. And then I was also in a play. And I had this big long monologue where I was really passionately, angry about being stood up on this date, like, right, yeah. And I was going on and on. And I had to say, listening to Stevie Wonder and Billy Joel. But I was so, in this moment, really passionately. And I went, Stevie Joel and Billy Wonder. The words just came out wrong. And then I stopped and corrected myself and went, no. Stevie Wonder and Billy Joel.
But I
and
think doing
carried
it
on.
like that, stopping and going, no, makes it feel like it's part of.
Yeah,
the
they all.
script a
I
bit
got a
more.
good laugh.
Yeah,
And then they all had a good giggle, and I carried on.
absolutely.
And so,
Good stories.
yeah,
Very
thank you.
Interesting mix. I've never heard of someone mixing Billy Joel and Stevie Wonder.
It was because this guy had put. They didn't have dating apps, but it was like a blind date she'd been set up on, and that was the things he was interested in: Stevie Wonder, Billy Joel, and smoking cigars. He was a very strange man.
Turns out this isn't actually
But,
a play. You were actually just stood up like Josh.
Whoa.
And all you
Never.
guys talk about is Billy Joel and Stevie Wonder and
Or
just smoke cigars.
Billy Wonder
Yeah.
and Stevie Joel. Anyway,
I
that's
love my
next one.
smoking.
I'll go back.
Okay.
Okay. I like.
Have you done these questions just to make yourself look really good?
No.
Because you're like,
No.
I do amazing
I'm
at
gonna
this.
I'm gonna expose myself to.
Okay.
Who's most likely to fall over on stage?
Oh, yeah, that's you.
It's definitely me, because I've
Yeah.
also done that a million times.
But do I take yours and put it onto mine?
Sure.
How does this
Because
work?
you also agree.
This
It's
doesn't
fine.
make sense.
If you both think it's Kaitlin, both put your models towards Kaitlin.
Oh, I
If you
see.
both think it's-
Oh, I was gonna go if
Good.
it's
So
Josh,
my model is like who I think. Okay, cool.
Oh right. Okay.
I think Joe. I think you just keep the cut close up of this.
Cool.
We don't need the stories.
True.
A proper close-up on just the two figures.
Or like just around this area.
Cool.
Yeah, our faces aren't that important.
no.
Well, your hair does look good today.
Thank you.
It's really surprising. It's just never.
That's so
never
rude. Anyway, my story for falling over on stage is I've already told this one. I have this tendency. If you haven't seen it, go and check out the last episode.
Potentially.
The one
Can I
with
say it because I feel like I want to see if
the
I can remember it.
cartwheeling.
You cartwheeled, hadn't cartwheel tested them. Yes, because then the thing is,
It's
haven't cartwheel tested them apparently, and yeah, Kaitlin did a cartwheel and face planted
I did.
or bum planted or something.
Yeah, and I also was in carousel, and then I rolled over someone's back and jumped and misjudged it and landed flat on my back on a revolving stage, and it really hurt. But
Did
it was
it, did it just
Tech
like continue taking you round and you was like, ah?
No, it hadn't started revolving yet. Like
Okay,
it
that's
was
good.
about to, but
That's
I salvaged it.
Okay, next question. Let's
Next one.
get some speed.
Who is most likely? Oh, I feel like I've done these in a bad order. Who's most likely to be in lots of shows at once? I'd agree. Also me.
Have you just done? I swear you just done this for yourself.
No. There's some more. There's some more.
I remember there was one time when you had like 5 on at once.
Yeah,
Just a bunch,
it's
just
a
a
habit.
bunch.
But yeah. Okay, this next one could be. Well, I can't say that yet.
Sorry, this next one's gonna be you, Josh. It's gonna be. Shall I just put it here already?
Yeah. Who's most likely to befriend an actor?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely me.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you put
yeah,
you-
sorry,
you put
I'm
yours-
confusing our own concept.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely Josh. Josh just makes lots of friends who are actors, and you have lots of contacts.
Yeah.
It's very good. You're very good at talking to people. It's very impressive.
Yes. OVO Theatre celebrated 20 years the other day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
I know.
exciting.
Very cool.
What's your connection with Over Theatre?
Work experience.
Very nice. Okay, next one. Who is most likely to make up lyrics to a song?
Oh come on. No, it's not make up lyrics. It's not no lyrics.
Josh just
So
sings-
make up.
I've made up a few lyrics in my time, but not generally to musical theatre songs, to like pop songs that I've performed.
Yeah.
But Josh's versions of songs are some of my favourite things
Thing
in
is,
the
I
world.
never take much time to sit down and just learn lyrics to songs, apart from like Hamilton, because you could do it really well, and I was jealous. I wanted to be able to join in, and so that's why I learned it.
Have you got any funny examples of impromptu lyrics, Josh?
It just happens.
It just happens. Josh, it'll be a song that Josh really likes as well, and then will not be the right lyric.
It'd be one of my favourite
You were
songs.
singing the song "Ooh Girl, You're Shining
like a Fourth Avenue.
and he just
Fifth Avenue.
I know.
I know he just changes the lyrics. He's just changed the number every
It's
time.
not, but I'm not doing it because like on purpose. I
But
just
you've
don't
done it
know.
everything.
I think you might have got that from me, Josh, because whenever I have a song in my head, 90% of the time it's always that song, and I feel like I sing that song. Like
You do sing that song a lot, but it's not just that song. It's
It's everything. I've heard different versions of Let It Go. I've heard versions, literally every song.
If I think on top of my head a song I like Mumford & Sons, and so if we do their one, let's see how far until I forget the lyrics. So come out of your cave, walking on your hands, see the world hanging upside down. You can dependent. There we go. Dependent when you know your maker's mind.
when Josh sings songs,
That's probably wrong.
When Josh-
but in my head that's right.
but when you sing songs, you never
So
just go. You just sing. You commit and replace other words, and I go, Josh, that's not the right lyrics, and then you just put in other words and commit and like fill it. You were doing it earlier as well, but it's very funny. Okay, next one.
Life as it's meant to be. That might be right.
Yeah,
That's a good song though.
That is a
I
good
know
song.
that song quite well.
it's a good song. Next one. Who I've.
I want
really
to
bad
sing
order.
some more songs and see
Who-
how far into it I just like change the lyrics.
Who is most likely to not realise that they've met someone famous?
Oh, me. I don't know famous people.
Josh likes to think that if he met Cameron McIntosh in person, he wouldn't know who it was.
I wouldn't know who it was.
And then
I had a
befriends
dream
him,
that I
and
had a
then-
great conversation with
and
this
then
old
he'd put
man
you in
outside
Les
a
Mis.
theatre. and then afterwards, my friends came up to me like, Josh, that was Cameron McIntosh. And then like I gave him my email because I was just like friendly. And he was like,
You
"Come
know
join
what?
Les Mis."
This would be rubbish for audio listeners, but you know what would be kind of fun is if we did an episode where I show you photos of like well-known West End actors and actresses, and you just have to tell me who they are, and we'll just see,
Man.
like camera or producers and composers, and you just.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any.
It would be really
I feel
fun.
like what would happen is to like 90% of them, Josh would be like, "Oh, I met them." Oh.
Or just any like old white man. Josh would be like Cameron McIntosh, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
All the same person to me.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, next one.
I've got a few more. Most likely to be late to a rehearsal.
But I feel like since you've met me, it's now also Hugh, but because
Well, it's
of me.
because you give me lifts places,
Oh, it's true.
and I go,
I give you lifts to places, but my lifts are always late.
I
because-
can't be late,
Yeah, no, it's true.
and you can.
Yep, yeah.
So
That's
we
fair.
balance each other out.
That's fair.
It's fine. Who is most likely to kick a light?
Oh, come on, that's not fair. That's not funny.
To what?
You must have done that in your time.
To kick a what?
Kick a light.
Kick a light.
We were doing a local performance.
I didn't know whether that was too far.
And it hurts. And I was a jester in Adam's Family as a ghost, and I did like a flip, and I landed, and then I did this thing where I went to the ground, and as I was standing back up again, by swinging my legs around, I just knocked one of the like strobe light looking things off the stage.
But you weren't the only one to do it that way.
But it had happened before. I'd like some questions by Joe, because I feel like your ones have an answer. Do you know what I mean?
Who's ask us
Joe, on the spot now.
Um,
Do you have any who's more likely?
It's the transitional period. Josh, can you give me a lift out of the station?
Now?
No, not now.
No, okay, cool.
But at some point.
Yes.
Um,
So I'd like to hear some from our cameraman Joe.
Yes, definitely. Go on.
Some that aren't just ones of answers. A lot of pressure though. Have a little think.
Why don't you Google some?
I'll look up some. Who's more likely to? Do you want
Theatre
specific
edition.
musical theatre?
Yeah, if it can be.
I put theatre edition in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I see.
Some of them were specific, like the
Uh-huh.
last one, but not all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do one here. Who's
on, dump
more
me in.
likely to? How do I word this? Because I feel like the phrase would give it away, but maybe it just matters.
Just go for it.
To embarrassingly fangirl over someone famous.
Well, probably me. Like, because we've just said that you don't know anyone famous, whereas
Yeah.
I'd be.
No, I just wanted to because you do sometimes.
I do. I met Carrie Hope Fletcher in a car park.
Wait, what? You have not told me this.
Have I not?
You've told me everything about Carrie Hope Fletcher, but you've never mentioned that you met her.
I
You've
met.
met Carrie Hope Fletcher?
Yeah. So me and my lovely friend Lauren went to her book signing
Yeah.
in Exeter, and
Exeter. Wow.
yes, and we were driving in the car. Her parents were driving us and parked in the car park, and Carrie Hope Fletcher was walking towards the barn field, and I went, "It's Carrie Hope Fletcher," and Lauren went, "Oh my gosh!" And then her mum was like, "We'll just pull up here," and stopped, and we got out the car, and then we were like, "Well, she's walking to her book signing, but we're
Did
really
you get
excited."
there so embarrassingly early that like she hadn't even got into the building yet?
Yeah. No, so
Because you get early to
we
places.
went that early, and she was walking up to the Barnfield stage door, and we walked up to her, and I think we were like just excited to the fact that we met her, like she was there, and then we were like, "Hi," I was what, 14, 13,
Oh.
and we were just like, "Hi, we're really excited to come to your book signing," and she's like, "Oh, thank you."
Was that after we broken up?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it was year 9 when I went.
Yeah, you were a little bit weird back then, weren't you?
Still weird.
Still weird. Yeah, very weird.
But yeah, it was definitely nervous fangirling.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. And then me and Lauren met her after, like, as she was signing our books.
And she was
I
like,
asked her a question.
"No way, you asked her a question."
In her book, like, she did a talk about the book and whatever, and then they did a Q&A. And then this is so embarrassing.
I want to
You're
know.
gonna laugh at me.
We want to know.
This is so embarrassing. So, yeah, we had broken up. I asked her a question about Les Mis and implied the fact that me and Lauren were in Les Mis. I was like, "We're doing Les Mis at school." I was
Sorry,
like,
implied the fact that we were in it. We're doing Les Mis at school.
and I was like, what was your favourite part of like being in Les Mis? She said, "That's a really difficult question." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And she said, "That's a really difficult question because
Thank you.
I didn't."
That's really difficult. Oh my god, thank you so much.
No, I didn't say that. But because she was speaking about it, she's like, "Oh, that's a really tough question." And then said basically like there was so much
Were you the
that
same
was good
character?
about it. No. Imagine. no.
Yeah.
No, I was Cosette and she was Eponine.
Yeah. Did you go with a ginger wig on as well? So that you
She
had-
wasn't ginger at that
Oh,
point.
she not. Okay.
And I still had straight hair and a fringe at that point,
Ugh.
so I know. And then we met her
I'm
afterwards.
sorry.
No, that's a whole.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, you
We met
implied
her
that you implied that you were in it,
And I told her.
and you kept telling her that you
Yeah,
were in it,
that was
and
in Les
you
Mis.
saw her afterwards again
I met her afterwards.
3
And
times.
she signed our signed our books, and she was very lovely. And I have a photo.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really great.
I'm
and
gonna go onto your
my
phone
friend-
and delete that photo.
my friend Beth, my amazing friend Beth, very talented artist, and she
Very.
drew Carrie as Wednesday Addams when she was in the Addams Family, and so I brought her, I brought her the painting and gave it to her.
Should have taken credit.
No, I cannot draw to save my life.
Should have put your like email address at the
But-
bottom of it.
Beth is very talented.
Beth's very
Yeah.
talented.
So she did an amazing drawing. Yeah.
Any things, Cameraman Joe?
Oh yeah. Let me get back on the little.
So that was. I feel like I don't actually think I've done an episode of the podcast yet where I haven't mentioned Carrie Fletcher.
I think that is actually.
I
True.
This
think
is
that's true.
episode 6 of mentioning Carrie Hope
Not
Fletcher
to-
before we have her on the podcast, and then after that we're not allowed to mention her
Not
again.
to like give you any more work, but I think it'd be really funny if you edited together all the times that I've said Carrie Fletcher. Not in this podcast, but
Yeah.
for a reel.
This is the last segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I was gonna say my train's in half an hour.
Slay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Okay, back to it.
Oh yeah. All the ones I found online were crap. Who's the most likely to? I'd say who's most likely to get like be in like a big production like West End Broadway first.
Aww.
Josh, you have to do it to her now. Come on.
No, he does not. He does not. He does not.
I think you're going into the education directorship route.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going into the performance route.
our uni courses would suggest.
Would
like,
suggest. Yeah.
You know, I'm very open to it. If anyone wants to put me on the West End, I will absolutely say yes.
Imagine how weird it would be though, if bearing in mind of our courses,
Yeah.
if I went into education and choreography and you just landed West End.
It's not unheard of.
Yeah.
It's like a possibility, but I think
It'd be
Josh
funny,
is.
inter-
It will be
interesting.
Josh. Josh is very driven and will be on the right course and will work very hard.
Thank you.
That's what I think.
I'd quite like the shows that I am in though, the more contemporary feel, more
Yeah.
kind of new. You know, I'm not as jazzy chorus line, whatever, tap,
good.
whatever, everything like that.
Yeah.
Never actually watched chorus line. Just seen bits and bobs.
There's such famous choreography in that, and I just feel like
In the comments, if you're on YouTube,
Yeah.
leave me shows that you think I should watch, and I can reply to them whether I have or not. You'd be surprised the
and
amount I
where to
haven't.
watch them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if there's stuff online that we can watch,
Who's more likely to have like a huge like you can't ignore it like voice crack in the middle of like a big high note,
I don't sing high notes, so
or in the middle of just like any song.
Me.
yeah, I think Kaitlin on that one.
Really?
And I think that's because
Yep.
she sings songs that set her up for voice cracks, whereas I'm a baritone who
You
is
sing lovely
scared
songs.
of tenor, and I really try, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
Anything more than an A
I've just
is
had
impossible.
like I just have done it, but I think I've sung in more concerts
Yeah.
than you have. I did one recently where I had a voice crack and it was really bad and very embarrassing. And everyone was very lovely and pretended like.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
It was
It was
bad.
so bad.
Joe told Josh off for saying that, but
It was so bad.
it was
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
you
we
did.
showed you the video.
We showed you the video.
Oh yeah.
No, it was
come on.
terrible.
It was really bad.
It's nice and supportive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's okay because
Ooh.
I was aware that it was bad, but I can sing, and I'd sung that. The annoying thing is, I'd sung that song great so many times.
We
and then I
believe
got
you.
on stage and I'd
I
sung,
know. Well,
and I'd
believe you.
sung it in the like dress run, and it was fine. And then I think my voice just
Okay.
was tired.
I've got two good ones to end off this
Okay,
episode.
all right,
Okay.
okay.
And I'm saying end off this episode because afterwards it might be impossible to continue with the episode. First one's like, who's more likely to get scammed on the street by a fake charity?
It's got nothing to do with musical theatre. And excuse me, you did absolutely nothing to help.
Yeah, we don't need to tell the story, but let's just put them over here.
You didn't. You
Let's just no. I'm putting it
You
that
did
fine.
nothing. You
Fine.
did nothing
Okay.
to help.
And
Let's
then
clarify, is the next one also aimed at Kaitlin?
Probably
who's more
yes.
likely to break up with their partner?
Wait, can I add a more specific angle to this?
Okay.
We might cut this out.
But the thing is with Kaitlin, like my mean, it's like it's kind of like a fair-ish level where it's like it's funny.
I get like
It's-
savage.
It's funny and it's okay. Caitlin is just like heartbreaking.
I'm either like really nice and bubbly or like savage.
Yeah.
Humour as a defense mechanism.
Who's most likely to use their humour as a defense mechanism?
Let's just pop these. Pop these up. Okay, Kate, I want to hear one of these though. I might regret it, but
Oh no, because I can't think of any that aren't really.
Wow.
I just won't hog
You know how bad that is?
No, it's not really mean. But I just don't know if you'll won't. No, it's fine. It's not that bad. I'll tell you the one I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Can't say it without laughing though. Who's most likely to get diarrhea in a squatty hole?
Oh, come on.
Oh, dude, you didn't.
Can we might have to bleep out that word. Because...
Bleep out diarrhea.
No, I think we might. I think it's too gruesome
It is
for...
gross.
Man, that was
You have
just...
to- well, I'm just going to be an asshole to editor Josh right now, but why did you have to bleep out the word diarrhea? I mean, diarrhea is not a bad word.
Yeah, but it's just a bit like gross, isn't it? It's just a bit much.
That was all. See, that's not mean, is it? It's just. I didn't know whether you wanted
No.
to out that.
No,
But then
that's
I
not
realised you
mean.
just talk about.
That's not me. No,
Putting it
yeah. I'm really sorry for those listening.
Yeah, we apologise, especially audio listeners
Yeah.
suffering.
Yeah. And by the way, we didn't say which ones we're putting, but I think it was fairly obvious.
But yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
it. It's fine.
No, I think it's cool.
But it's fine because we're fine.
I think to end this podcast, we'd like to put out a bit of an announcement. We're looking for an editor. We need a name as well, and
And an
we're
editor.
and an editor, and someone to help out with some of the graphic side of things.
Joe's really excited about
We just need a name.
We need a name for the orangutan mug.
Nice zoom in on our mascot, the orangutan mug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So feel free. Maybe we could also name these two. I mean, they got names.
They've got
but
names.
Maybe special names.
Okay. Special names.
Special names. No, we don't need to name these two. Mando, Grogu,
Yes.
sorted.
But we are looking for an editor.
We are looking for an editor
And-
because there's a lot of work
Graphic design.
that I'm having to do now myself, combined with the podcast, the research,
Yes.
promotion.
So if anyone out there has any special editing skills,
Yes, it's
Please.
currently voluntary until this pops off, which might
so
not happen.
drop us a message on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or
If you're really passionate for editing and you want to practice in a weekly way, we can provide that.
we can.
And if we
And we
come
promise we
into
won't make it as difficult as we have done today.
yeah, that's kind of rough. So yes,
Yeah.
thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you very much.
We're
We
really
haven't said-
grateful that. Sorry.
No, you go.
I was just saying nice things that we're really grateful for you, your support.
Yes.
Like, subscribe.
Follow us on socials. As
yeah.
I haven't said that.
I think the most important thing is like these metrics are cool. It shows us like who's interested. But the biggest thing is just like who's watching and for how long. Like we want you guys to enjoy this. I think that's why we say like comment. It's important because we want people to watch for the whole episode. Not just because it's like, oh yeah, look, I watch whatever. Because it's like then we know that people have been enjoying the content we put out, and so that's why I think comments are important because we want to hear if you've been enjoying and watching.
Even if you don't comment, send us a message on Instagram to let us know.
Yeah.
You know, anything. We'd just like a bit of feedback. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching.
Thank you for
Give
watching.
us a follow on the socials, which are in the description, and have a lovely week.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.